What's going on, everybody? Thanks for watching this. I got the Mariners game on right now, so if I pause, bear with me. We're tied 2-2 against the Boston Red Sox in Fenway Park in Boston. And if we win, we sweep the Red Sox. So I got the game on right now, and we're tied in the ninth. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Jake Locker draft pick, which was huge. As a Husky fan, I'll talk a little bit about that. And we're also going to review the Seattle Seahawks draft picks. Let's start with Jake Locker. Now, I know as a Jake Locker doubter, as a former Jake Locker doubter, I should say, I think that I'm giving him a clean slate. He showed that he could get it done in college, but I'm giving him a clean slate. Maybe he can pan out and do better in the NFL. Why I'm doing this is because the college is, and there are massive differences between the NFL and college, and so we'll see how it goes. And I do wish him good luck, because I think we all can relate to Jake Locker in the sense that, you work really hard for something and then you finally get the opportunity to do it. I mean, I remember when I first got my first full-time job at a radio station. I felt really good about myself. Maybe you can relate to yourself with something that you have been trying to achieve. So ultimately, Jake Locker has become a feel-good story. And I'm okay with that. I really am. Instead of, being looking at Jake Locker as a guy who was put on a pedestal and just constantly lost year after year after year after year, I'm going to view him as a guy who is a feel-good story. And, frankly, I think something that Husky fans can be proud of. It doesn't mean that, like I said, it doesn't mean I'm going to be, the biggest Jake Locker fan, not going to get his jersey or anything. I'm just going to view him as a feel-good story. As far as him going to the Tennessee Titans at number 8, I think everybody was surprised. The Seattle Times mock draft actually had Jake Locker going 10th, and that was the highest I saw him being drafted in all the mock drafts. And instead he goes 8 to the Titans, and I think there is some potential there. It's going to take a while for him to learn the system. It's going to take a while for him to get his game down, but ultimately I think that could be a really good fit for Jake Locker, because he's a mobile quarterback and he loves to run, and what do the Titans like to do? They like to run. So I think that's there's some potential there. I didn't want Jake Locker on the Seahawks for this reason, and this is why I'm not disappointed why he's not on the team. Because when Locker first started out as the University of Washington Husky, what did he have to work with? No offensive line, no running game, okay wide receivers, a terrible defensive unit, and okay special teams unit. If he joins the Seahawks, what does he have? A terrible, no offensive line, an okay running game, terrible defensive unit, okay wide receivers, and it's an okay special teams unit. So it would have been deja vu for Jake. It would have been deja vu for Husky fans, myself, maybe not necessarily Seahawks fans. And I just don't think that would have been a good pick, a good fit for either Locker and the Seahawks. The last thing you want, let's just say hypothetically speaking, Matt Hasselbeck comes back, he gets off to a poor start, and everybody starts chanting, Locker! No, it would not have been a good setup between the two. So, bottom of the ninth, 2-2. Okay, so that's how I think about Jake Locker. That's what I think about Jake Locker, and here's what I think about the draft picks. Now, I didn't see this, but apparently Trent Dilfer ripped the Seahawks and said they had one of the worst drafts this year. Now, I tend to disagree, because I think the Seahawks went out for positions they needed to be filled instead of the best players available, which I'm okay with. Not that many people, and when I say not that many people, I mean my friends on Facebook kind of had this, who is James Carpenter? Like, who is this guy? So not that many people knew who he was, but he's an offensive lineman, and I want an offensive line help on the offensive line, so I'm happy with that pick. I'm also happy with the second pick, John Moffitt, a guard from Wisconsin. I don't think those two were the best players available, but still, it's what the Seahawks need. Like I said before, the last 3 years, it's the offensive line that has really let them down. I understand they got holes in their defense, but their weakest part of their team right now, of the Seattle Seahawks team, is the offensive line. The only two draft picks where I'm kind of shaking my head, as if to say what's going on, is their third and fourth draft picks. We drafted KJ Wright, a linebacker from Mississippi, and I am curious about this draft pick because we already have David Hawthorne, we have Lofa Tatupu, and we have Aaron Curry. Now, I think that's a pretty good linebacker core. Unless we're trying to find Lofa Tatupu's replacement because he's been injury prone the last couple of years, then the draft pick makes sense. But for the most part, kind of wondering where this one's going to go. The other draft pick I'm kind of shaking my head wondering what they're doing is the wide receiver, Chris Durham from Georgia. I think our wide receiver core is just going to continue to grow. It's already young. They already had some big catches last year. So I'm kind of wondering why they went after a wide receiver at that point in the draft. But other than that, I'm fine with the draft picks. We drafted 2 defensive backs, the defensive lineman, a full safety, and I agree with the decisions. You know, I was a little surprised they didn't get a quarterback of the future, but at the same time, as I said before, as long as we have a bad offensive line, it doesn't matter who you put back there, whether it's Hasselbeck, Whitehurst, J.P. Lossman, Jake Locker, Andy Dalton. You know, they were going to struggle. So I'm okay with all these decisions, and I hope that they do pan out. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Go ahead and comment below, and we'll talk to you next time here on the Puck's Thoughts in the Doghouse. Thanks for watching.